Hey everyone, welcome back to Note Forge. So last time I showed how I went about modeling this wood texture signet ring in Blender, and I'll leave a link down below to where you can find that. But today I wanted to go over how I plan to 3D print and cast this piece, because it has a couple really unique challenges about it. And I had one of you guys reach out in the comments and ask how I would actually print this design without messing up any of the texture. And that's a really good question because you can see I have that texture going all the way around the ring. And one of the biggest challenges with 3D printing is just knowing where to put those supports. And the hard truth is that sometimes there just really isn't a good spot. You're just going to have to put supports where you might not want them and just have to worry about cleaning that up later. So I knew that was going to be the case with this piece because that texture goes all the way around. And one thing that I did to try to help myself out was to kind of gradually smooth out that texture near the bottom of the shank. So doing that left a nice little area where I could attach those supports for printing. And my plan is to just kind of reintroduce some of that texture by hand after the piece is cast. So I'll get into more of that later on, but for now I just wanted to show my support setup here in Lychee. And you can see I have the bulk of those larger supports right there at the bottom of the shank, and that was just to make sure it's nice and stable during printing. And the other supports I have just attached right underneath the head of the ring where it's already nice and smooth. So taking a closer look here at the actual 3D print, you can see all that texture came through really nicely, and this was done with a Frozen Sonic Mini 8K and printed off in some Jamg High Wax Plus resin. And I'm really happy with the level of detail that's actually showing through. You can see it's nice and crisp in all the spots where it's really important, so the head of the ring and over on the sides. And it's really only going to be right underneath near the bottom of the shank that needs to be cleaned up more. So I'm going to start that cleanup process, and then I can get into my strategy for casting this. So I'm just going to use an X-Acto knife to go through and cut off any of those thinner supports. And then switch to using some snips to break off some of those thicker ones. And you can see they left a few marks to where they need to be cleaned up. And these should be pretty easy to sand down, and I really don't think it's going to interfere too much with the texture we have going on. And you can see this area that is pretty smooth already, like I mentioned. So I'm just going to take some diamond burrs and start cleaning that up and just start introducing a little bit more of that texture back by hand. And I'm going to switch to using a sanding drum just to clean up that flat section under the head of the ring. So now that that's nice and cleaned up, I can go ahead and start worrying about casting this piece. And the same as before, I want to really make sure I'm not interfering too much with the texture. So my plan is to attach the sprues for casting on the inside of the ring. And generally it's good practice to try to attach the sprue to the thickest section of your piece, which would be right here at the head of the ring. So I'm actually going to bend a piece of wax into kind of a hook and melt that to the flat section right under the head of the ring. So I'm using a piece of 6 gauge wax wire, which is about 4 millimeters thick, And I want the sprue to be on the thicker side just because this ring is decently thick, but also because it needs to make that harsh turn in order to fill up the mold. And once that's attached, I always like to go through after and just clean up those seams to make sure they're nice and smooth. So now I'm going to go ahead and attach this to the rubber sprue base. And I'm kind of putting it off to the side because I want to try to do a couple of these rings in one cast. So these are looking pretty good, so now I can go ahead and mix up some investment and get this ready to cast. So because these rings are on the heavy side, I'm going to go ahead and use a 38 to 100 mixing ratio for the investment, and that's just to make sure the investment is nice and strong during casting and hopefully prevents any blowouts. So I'm going to go ahead and let this cure for a couple hours before putting it in the kiln for a 5-hour burnout cycle. And I'm going to go ahead and start melting down some bronze. And at the end of the kiln's burnout cycle, the flask temp sits at around 900 degrees for at least an hour before it's ready to cast. And I'm using my homemade vacuum casting table for this, which still works great. And while that button is still molten, I like to sprinkle on a little bit of borax flux just to help prevent any porosity. So after quenching the flask, here are the raw castings. And I think they came out great. You can see all that wood texture is showing through really nicely. So now I'm just going to go through and cut these off and start finishing them up. And because of the way that these sprues are kind of hooked in like this, I ended up having to cut through them twice. Once to get them off the button, and then another just to do a close cut right next to the ring. So that's just something to keep in mind if you have to do a sprue setup like this. I then went ahead and used a carbide burr to kind of roughly shave off the sprue mark that's on the ring. And silicon browns can kind of be some tough stuff, but the carbide burr works really nicely in removing a lot of material pretty quickly. And you do have to use a relatively high RPM and try to take your time with this, because that carbide can tend to catch every now and then. But once that's pretty close, I just finish that off with a regular sanding drum to make it nice and smooth. So now I'm going to clean up the back of the band and try to introduce some of that wood texture back. And I probably could have done a little bit better of a job doing this on the print, but it shouldn't be too hard to do this in the metal. So I'm going to start off by using a silicone abrasive just to kind of blend out some of those marks. And I'm not making it completely smooth or anything at this point. I'm just going through and hitting some of those high spots just to try to make that texture blend really nicely to the back. And once that's pretty close, I'm going to go ahead and switch to a heart burr, and then I can just go through by hand and start carving in some of that wood texture. And I'm just doing my best to kind of crisscross some of those patterns that I'm seeing in the wood texture. But once those marks are carved in, I just went through and softened them up with some more abrasives. I then evened out the surface finish by tossing these in the magnetic tumbler. And I like to do 2 different polishing phases. So I'll do a bit of an initial polish right before I darken these up with some oxides. And then after I do a final polish to really bring out that texture. And here's the finished result. So I'm really happy with how this came out. I love all that detail that's showing through for the texture, and just how much it pops, especially with that darkening agent. So I think carving in that texture on the back of the band definitely works. But for doing more of these in the future, I might try to find a different way to go about it, just to try to save some time. So let me know what you think down in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching.